Imagine if you could impact thousands of people's lives. Many of us want to make a difference with others, but the one thing that stops us is our excuses. Maybe you have this amazing idea that you want to tell your manager, but you tell yourself, I don't have the budget. I don't have the experience. I don't have the time. Excuses come up over and over again. About a year ago, I was traveling to Peru, and I was referred to one of my colleagues by the name of Derek Fetzer. Derek is originally from Peru, and he told me about the restaurants to go to and the museums to see, and unknowingly at the time, Derek would become one of the most important people in my life. A few weeks later, I get a call from my dad, and he said, Zach, Louis passed away. Louis was a close family friend who I grew up with in Florida. Me and his brothers would ride bikes together, play Dungeons and Dragons together, and go camping together. At the age of 19, Louis was diagnosed with bipolar and schizoaffective disorder. One day, he went for a walk and didn't come home. He was only 22 years old. A few weeks later, I was invited to a workshop at Johnson & Johnson around schizophrenia. And during the halfway break, I walked into the cafeteria and I bumped into Derek. And Derek and I started chatting about Peru and the good ceviche I ate. But we started talking about life, and he asked me if I was ever interested in starting a Caring Crowd project. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Caring Crowd, you could think of it like Kickstarter for nonprofits. And I thought, yeah, maybe that's something I could do. He knew I was really into nutrition. I'm doing the paleo diet, so maybe help kids who have malnutrition. And I was walking back into the hallway to go back into the workshop, and it hit me. I had to do something for Louis. So later that night, I called Louis's dad, Fred, and I said, Fred, would it be okay if I start a Caring Crowd project in honor of your son? And I don't remember what happened after that. And it doesn't matter what happened after that, because the only thing that matters is he said yes. And how Caring Crowd works is you select a nonprofit and a specific project to fund. You set an amount you want to raise with a certain amount of days, and Caring Crowd matches all your donations up to $250. But if you don't hit your goal within the certain amount of days, all the money is returned to the pledgers. So the first thing I did is I wanted to learn about the different nonprofits in the space, and I went onto Reddit. And for any of you who are unfamiliar with Reddit, you could think of it as an online forum. And I went into the schizophrenia subreddit, and I asked, what nonprofit has made the biggest difference in your life? And the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, came up over and over again. So the next day, I got in touch with the executive director of NAMI New Jersey, and I asked, what projects do you need to be funded? And she told me about the NAMI Basics program, a program that trains parents who have children with mental illness. And I knew that was the project I needed to be funded, because what if I could save one child's life and prevent a father like Fred from having to suffer? The next day, I went back onto Reddit to learn more about the disease, and I read video after video and post after post in the subreddit schizophrenia, and I remember watching this one video of a girl a little younger than myself. And she said, I haven't left my room in over a month. And then I read this post of this guy who had 3 voices in his head. And he said one of the voices wanted to kill him. So he had that one voice kill off the other 2, and then sent the voice on vacation, so now he has no voices. These people live in a nightmare. So with no nonprofit or crowdfunding experience, I set out to launch a $9,500 project on Caring Crowd with the goal to raise that amount in 30 days for the NAMI Basics program, which would train 350 parents with children who have mental illness. When we launched, we started strong, and I saw Fred started getting his friends to contribute. And sometimes it's funny that the people that come into your life make all the difference in the world, even when you don't ask. And within 2.5 weeks, we hit our goal of $9,500. But this talk is not about caring crowd. I called my best friend David, and I said, David, I wanted to help more people with mental illness. And he said, why don't we start an online community for those suffering with mental health issues? And we started this community on Slack. Slack is similar to an online chat room, and we called this community 18%. Because 18% of Americans at any given moment live with some sort of mental health condition. So we shared this community in the subreddit schizophrenia, where it all began. And then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5 people joined. And I remember they were talking about their favorite music and the concerts they're attending that week. But they're also talking about their recent diagnosis with bipolar. And people would share that it gets better. And about a week later, I was taking a walk, and I get a call from David, and he said, Zach, we did it. We partnered with the crisis text line. So now the crisis text line started referring members to 18%. A few days later, a girl by the name of Julie joined 18%, said, hey guys, I just came here from the crisis text line, and my boyfriend's going to pick me up in about an hour to take me to the hospital. But if I don't get support, I think I'm going to kill myself. And instantly, our Slack bot jumped in, picking up the words kill myself, and said, here's the crisis text line number, here's the suicide hotline number, and if you need additional support, type !mods. So she typed !mods and alerted all the moderators in 18%. And within under a minute, the moderators and other members from the community jumped in. People started sending cat photos, and this one guy sent a video of a monkey slapping a lion, and she laughed. And 2 days later, she came back into the community and sent a photo of herself smiling and said, thank you. But this talk is not about 18%. Mental Health Awareness Month was coming up, and I wanted to do more and help more people with mental health issues. Lewis's dad, Fred, started healing. So we teamed up together to launch a $30,000 project on Caring Crowd, with the proceeds going to NAMI El Dorado to support 650 families with at least one member of their family who had some sort of mental health condition. At first, we started strong and got to 15%, but soon enough, the match ran out. And it was the first time in this journey when I said to myself, I'm not going to be able to hit my goal. And I remember I called my dad, and he said, Zach, you're not going to hit every shot that you take. But this was different. This was for Lewis. And one day, I was at the gas station and scrolling on my phone, and I saw the match reopened. And I immediately called Fred, and I said, Fred, the match reopened. And he said, Zach, I have people who are lined up that have committed to donating. I'll create their accounts on their behalf. And I get a call back from Fred in 5 minutes. He's like, Zach, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to create any of these accounts. I say, Fred, it's okay. I'm in IT. I could help you out. And I pull over the side of the road in the middle of New York City. I put my hazards on. I'm on the phone with Fred. And we create these accounts. And in under 30 minutes, we raise over $10,000. And 3 days later, we hit our goal of $30,000. But this talk is not about how much money I've raised. It's not about 18% or about Caring Crowd. It's about you. You're going to have opportunities and people to meet. But you're going to have that voice inside your head that says, I don't have the experience. I don't have the time. I have to take my kids to soccer practice. But what if you, too, can impact thousands of people's lives? So the next time you have the opportunity to start something or meet someone, consider saying yes. Thank you.